Hey, what's up? This is January the 12th, 2026. Coming to you, death is not a death sentence. I just want to, give some encouraging words, some motivation, and everything like that. And hopefully it can help someone down the line or just help, help whoever. So, anyways, I want to talk about, loneliness. Loneliness is not a curse. A lot of people take loneliness as a curse. It is not a curse. It's just that you got clarity. You aware now. You awake now. You done went through some type of transformation. Um, you're not. You're not used to the same things that you normally would be used to. You outgrew the people who used to be around, or maybe the person who you're with. Sometimes when we do take a step in, changing ourselves and literally have an awakening, we outgrow people, and not everybody can come with you when you outgrow people, and that's just the facts because not everybody's going to understand why you're not the same anymore. Some people might take it like you're acting weird, you're acting funny. No, it's not that you're acting weird or anything like that. It's just the point of the matter is that you just outgrown that type of environment, some type of people or that type of relationship. So, um, unfortunately, when it comes from transformation and clarity and knowledge and everything like that, yeah, you're gonna be alone, you're gonna be lonely, but I can tell you this though, you just haven't found the community that you belong to yet. And you know what? Trust me, you'll find them, even though it'll be like some people be like, oh my goodness, I've been by myself for 10 years or 15 years. But a lot of times you probably been by yourself for 10 or 15 years or 7 years or whatever, because you can't you can't let fear get in the way of getting to know people or getting to know a new relationship. You can't let that get in the way. I mean, a lot of us, we go off fear, right? Because of everything that we went through, and we didn't learn some things, and we got clarity now. We don't want to destroy our peace. We don't want to try it no more because we don't want to be hurt or anything like that. But you're going to have to let somebody in. You're going to have to knock down them walls. Not everybody is the same, so, it's just not really about, now, if you're not ready, then you're not ready. I don't care if it's been 15 years. If you're not ready, then you're not ready. Some people could sit up there and say, hey, listen, I don't have to have anybody. I'm just going to be by myself, and I'll just be by myself for the rest of my life. And that's fine if that's what you choose to do. But everybody get lonely. I don't care who you are. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care. But I will say, being lonely is not a curse. Being lonely is clarity. It's transformation. It's an awakening. It's to get to know who you really are. And not only that, but to work on yourself, and your pain and what people put you through or what you put yourself through. It's just and how to be better as a person, dealing with religion, or even if you don't have any religion, but it's just better to be just, realize that, listen, ain't nobody out there perfect. Everybody have flaws. Everybody have flaws. Only person that didn't have any flaws was Jesus Christ. So, I just say, put yourself out there, only to the people that that is gonna, that's gonna benefit, you know, on both ways, what to look for. Like if you know this person just by talking to a person for a good what, I say about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, not even 30 minutes. I said maybe 20 minutes. And sometimes shorter than that. You might can have a couple of seconds by talking to them, a good 10, 20 seconds, and like, nope, I don't want that in my world. So I mean, at the end of the day, don't judge anyone because we're not the judge. Jesus is the judge. But I will say it is I don't know. I just think that, it's your responsibility to keep your peace no matter what. But, loneliness is not a curse. Loneliness is just, clarity. It's transformation. And you know what? And a lot of times, you know, we need that. We need that, especially when we went out, got out of something real messed up, or, people are taking advantage of us, manipulated us. I mean, just went down a lot of pain. We done lost, siblings or cousins or mom or dad or loved ones. We done lost people. Sometimes, you got to sit back and just, be by yourself and just pray, and I will say, you will know when that right person is worth even talking to or dealing with, because I'm a true believer in good energy finds good energy. They'll find you, so don't worry about just looking and everything like that, because they're going to find you. It's somewhere, some way, somehow. You cannot stop destiny. You just can't. These dating sites, they're trash. um it's just so many bad people on there. But nevertheless, though, I just say, hey, listen, guys, being lonely is not a curse. Loneliness is not a curse. And just keep your head up, and, stay prayed up, and, and those tears that you might, that might be falling because you're so sad and you're so lonely. I promise you, it's only a season. They don't last. It doesn't last forever. It doesn't. It doesn't last forever. And just remember that just because you might feel lonely does not mean that you're forgotten or you unloved, because that is simply not so. That's what the enemy want you to believe. So anyway, God bless everyone. Love everyone. Jesus love everybody. And I talk to you guys next time. God bless everybody. Goodbye.